Talk, tackling the daring, exciting, and wonderful issues that make up the world of the middle school student. Featuring a dynamic student panel. Abby, Maggie, Alden, William, Emily, Henry, and Courtney. And hosted by middle school counselor Paige Turner. This is You Talk.
Welcome to You Talk. I'm Paige Turner, school counselor at Noble Middle School. Our show is all about the middle school student. We leave no stone unturned. Testing, bullying, dating, stress, and so much more. Joining me each month is a knowledgeable panel of middle school students, ready to discuss the issues and tackle the tough questions. In addition to your questions, our panel will also discuss a topic that continues to be talked about, school safety. Since the tragedy at Newtown, Connecticut, and the ongoing gun violence that has plagued our nation, attention remains focused on students in schools. All types of safety plans are out there, and our panel of students will talk about what they see as their biggest concerns and worries. But first, we kick off our show with some Q&A, featuring questions on a variety of topics from middle schools throughout the school system that our panel of students are ready to answer. No question is too tough, no topic is too difficult. All right, panelists, here is question number 1. I'm kind of new in school and I want to make friends. All I ever hear is just be yourself and just be friendly. And it's not that easy on your second day of 8th grade. Everyone already has their own cliques and groups and they exclude me from everything. Everyone already knows who they're going to pair up with in science class, while I'm stuck with an antisocial kid who picks his nose. I really want to make friends and I don't know what to do. Can you help me, please? So do you have any advice on new students that are coming into school mid-year, especially this late in the year of 8th grade?
I was a new student in 1st grade, so it wasn't too difficult because not everyone knew everyone, and it was just kind of the point where you were making friends.
Right.
But it was hard at times because people said, well, you can't be this person's friend because some people just did that. And
right.
Because they were like, well, I'm already this person's friend. No.
Right. So they were making up all these rules that you were coming
in
new,
make
like
up
what?
Sometimes because they might not have, they just don't understand.
Right.
Because they came in kindergarten, so they were there first, and so they think they can be first.
Has anybody else been a student new to a school or?
I was new in 3rd grade, and I didn't know anybody, and I knew some kids that didn't want to hang out with me, and then there were some that did. And you just have to find the right friends. You know, you can't trust what people say about other people. You have to figure out, you have to judge people for yourself and make sure you're open to anybody that wants to be friends with you.
Right.
I changed schools a lot, but it was when I was younger. But something that I learned is if you have certain interests, then you can show those interests to people, and then the people who have your same interests will come over, and then you can make friends with the people who are most like you.
Right. And that sounds like that's how we all should choose our friends, is based on common interests and personalities and things like that, versus, you know, this is the popular group and, you know, this is this clique and things like that.
Well, and it's similar to what he was saying, but in middle school there's a lot more opportunity for being in clubs and playing sports within the school, so that might be another option for the student to get involved with.
Absolutely. What about students that come into middle school now, because I know that we have students that do move in and out. Do you feel like they think it's difficult to be a new student at our school?
Probably definitely difficult, but middle school you lose a lot of friends because friends have to move to different schools because they might be in your district for elementary, but not for middle school. So I mean, everyone wants to make new friends because they know not all their friends are going to be there.
Well, it's interesting because when I came into middle school, there's a lot of new people that come in, and it's kind of like you're friends with some people in elementary school, and then when you get into middle school, they make friends with other people, and then you make friends with other people, and then it's just, you have to find who you, I don't want to say compatible with, but who you share the same interest with, because really it's no fun if you're with someone who loves football if you're obsessed with art. So I mean,
Right. And I think, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, that it's not just an issue that new students face. I think that students that have been there since the very first day of 6th grade, there's still students that are struggling with trying to find their group of friends and their niche. So I think, to be honest, it's probably a middle school issue, not just a new student issue.
I would agree with that because, I mean, people change. And as you grow up, people want to become more popular. And so once they find that group that everyone likes, they will sometimes exclude people. I mean, it's never happened to me, but I know that it happens to some other people that they'll be excluded because, well, this person would rather hang out and be more popular,
Right.
and they don't have time for you anymore.
Right.
everyone feels a little bit alone and secluded from people at sometimes, but
Absolutely. Well, I think, you guys gave some really good advice, and it sounds like you just would like for this person to maybe just continue to search for friends that have similar interests and personalities, and, they'll make it through. All right, let's move on to the next question. My parents are driving me crazy. They're always nagging me about homework and grades, and every night they want me to spend like an hour talking to them about how my day was. I need them to understand that I need some space. What do you guys think?
The only thing, your parents really do care about you. They're just trying to figure out, they want to look out for you, especially our age, like being in middle school. They want to know that we're okay, and they want to make sure that we get on the right track, because it's not far. We'll be in high school, we'll be in college before you know it, and they want to make sure we have a good education and we have good friends, and they want to look out for you. But if you don't really want them to be on your back as much, like always watching over you, just make sure you do always the right thing so you can earn their trust and make sure they know you're responsible.
Absolutely, I think that's a good point.
you need to have good responsibility, because if your parents are always nagging you about homework and grades and stuff, you want to try and do everything that you can do so that you can, be working on your homework and working on your grades. And you still want to check in with your parents occasionally, but I mean, an hour every night, that's kind of crazy. But just try and show your parents that you are responsible enough to handle this by yourself and that you don't need that hour every night.
Go
ahead.
It's definitely your parents' responsibility to take care of you, and you have to understand that because they're in charge of you, and I mean, they have to take care of you, and it's their responsibility to make sure that you're okay. And so maybe set up a schedule, and so you can basically do whatever you want, but whenever you go out to the movies with your friend, text them whenever the movie's over or whenever the movie starts or what you're doing, so that they know that you're safe, and be honest with them.
So your parents aren't worried.
Because if they find out something different, then they're going to be nagging you continuously.
Absolutely.
Well, it sounds like all of you are on the same page. If you can prove to your parents that you're being responsible, that you're doing the homework, that you're checking in with them, that you're not out doing things that they've raised you not to do, then eventually they will no longer need to spend an hour checking in or feel like they need to do that every day.
Yeah, for sure. All right, I think we're going to have time for one more question. I'm really good at math and love it, but everyone thinks it makes me a freak. I try to love it less, but I can't. I just want to sit at home and cry sometimes. I don't know how to stand up for myself without getting me in deeper. Help me, please.
Don't listen to them. It's as simple as that. Just ignore them.
Okay.
If you have interest about someone, if you have interest about something, it doesn't matter what other people think. Because if you're great at math, they probably just want to be good at math too. I mean, being great at math, it's something that you work at. And if you enjoy it, don't try and enjoy it less, because it's what brings you joy. So just forget about them and just do what you enjoy.
Even though in school people might be making comments to them and being really hurtful and mean to them.
Earmuffs.
You don't want to you don't want to cancel out your interests just to be in the popular crowd, If they want you to be different, you don't have to change for them. You can just you know, show them that it's a good thing to like math, and they probably just want to be as good as you are at math. I mean, they're not gonna, eventually they'll just give up. They're just trying to make you insecure, trying to make you not like what you.
And I think one of the good things is in middle school we do have opportunities for students to showcase their interest in academics through like math counts and other like academic clubs and organizations, and that might be a good place for them to meet other students who are really interested in math and who excel in math. So I think that's another place where maybe students could feel accepted based on that interest that they have.
And I mean, definitely if someone's not your friend if they can't accept you.
Right.
So if you think that they're your friend and you've known them for maybe a long time, and you think that they're your friend, but then they don't accept you for liking math, then they're not really your friend, and so just ignore them.
Right. All right, guys, well, thank you so much. We've run out of time for the question and answer segment. That wraps up UTalk Q&A. If you're a middle school student with a question you'd like our panel to discuss, there are several ways to submit that question. First, you can drop the question off to your school counselor or social worker. 2, you can email to nhcs-tv@ec.rr.com. Or 3, use good old-fashioned mail by sending your question to NHCS TV, UTalk, 1802 South 15th Street, Wilmington, North Carolina, 28401. Now, coming up in our next segment, Maggie talks with our special guest, a school resource officer supervisor, about the deputies' roles in keeping our schools and students safe. Don't go away.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital. I feel like a fish with no water.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor. Because even one attack is one too many.
You think you're invincible. I started out taking 1 to 2. I ended up taking 7 to 10. Nothing goes the way that people expect it to go. You don't remember things you're doing. Your body hurts. I would wake up sometimes like shaking. You're just worn down. It's physically painful. Once I hit my absolute bottom, I just wanted to die. I see a lot of people now that aren't in the hole as deep as I am, but they're making choices that could take them there one day.
Welcome back to UTalk. President Obama unveiled a sweeping series of proposals to help stem the tide of violence in our nation. The president has proposed action in several key areas: closing background check loopholes to keep guns out of dangerous hands, banning military-style assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, and taking other common-sense steps to reduce gun violence. He has also focused on making our schools safer, not only by enhancing their physical security and making sure they are prepared to respond to emergencies like a mass shooting, but also by creating safer and more nurturing school climates that help prevent school violence and improving mental health services. The President's plan for school safety recognizes that, quote, each school is different and should have the flexibility to address its most pressing needs, end quote, and that districts should be able to choose what is best to protect their own students. Here in New Hanover County, our Board of Education and County Administration worked together to create a plan that put law enforcement officers in each of our schools for the 2012-2013 school year. Joining us this morning is one of the SRO supervisors, and he is with Maggie to answer a few questions about the duties of an SRO. Maggie?
Thank you, Ms. Turner. Joining us this month for UTalk is Deputy Brown, a school resource officer. Welcome, Deputy Brown. Let's get right to your questions.
Okay.
What is the difference between a school resource officer and a regular deputy?
School resource officer is part of the Uniform Patrol Division. The school resource officers are primarily trained for juvenile law. Their assigned beats are the schools. They're still regular deputies, however, their main focus is juveniles and handling the school situations.
What are the daily tasks for a school resources officer?
School resource officer, they're supposed to be out in the classroom or out in the hallways, talking with the kids, talking with the students, talking with the parents, being available for any type of situations that may occur within the school, and their main job is the safety and security of the facility and the students and staff.
Are there pros and cons for having a school resource officer?
There's a lot of pros to having a school resource officer in the school. If there's a situation that happens within a school, you have a deputy that's right there. I've thought about these questions a lot, and I can't really think of any cons of having a school resource officer there. We can build good rapport with the students, and I've been a school resource officer before, and I still have students that I know from whenever I was at Myrtle Grove.
What should parents know about the role of a school resource officer?
The parents need to know that the school resource officer is there to assist the students with any type of law enforcement actions that occur. If there's any type of fights or anything like that, their main job is law enforcement. They're not there for like duties like lunchroom duties or stuff like that.
How should students view a school resource officer?
The students can view this school resource officer just like the parents, that they're there for a tool. If they have any problems with stuff getting stolen or anything like that, they're there for their protection. They're there for their protection as well.
In the event of a school-wide emergency, what does a school resource officer do?
The school resource officer, it's like their assigned beat. That's their area of protection. Their main job is to make sure that the facility of the school is safe and secure, and that all the students are taken care of, and that there's no harm going to come to them.
Do you think school resource officers are going to be a permanent part of public schools in the future?
I think there will be. With the amount of incidences that have happened in schools, I think they're going to be a permanent part.
Thank you, Deputy Brown. Now back to you, Ms. Turner.
Thank you, Maggie and Deputy Brown. Now, panel, let's discuss school safety. Is this something that you guys think about? Like, do you feel safe at school? Do you worry about school safety?
I feel safe at school. I mean, yeah, I feel safe at our school.
Okay.
I definitely feel safe because we have the resource officer and we have the ISS teachers who are there to help. I mean, I personally never really thought about school safety until the incident in December because, I mean, that was just kind of unknown of. It never really happened. I don't think anyone really thought about it too much because, I mean, we thought schools were safe, and then the attack happened. And so now I think everyone is on the edge of their seat wondering what happened. I mean, like, why? Because that was, like, the safest school. And
Right. Well, and I think you bring up a good point for students that are in school right now. A lot of you were not born or were not old enough to really know what was going on back in, I think it was 99 when Columbine High School had a mass shooting like
my mom told
like
me
the
that
one.
story, and I was like, really?
So, I think it's different hearing stories about something that happened before you were born versus being at an age where you can understand and kind of maybe feel the emotional aspect of what has happened. So that's a good point. I hadn't really thought this was maybe kind of like the first major event like that had happened in your lifetime.
Especially since back in like the 1900s, it was whenever there was a lot of discrimination for like it was when the people that were colored.
Segregation.
Yeah, segregation. They had a lot of problems, so you would think, well, that's just kind of what was going on back then. We're over that now.
It's a different time.
It's a different time, yes.
Sure.
And so we never thought about it. We thought, okay.
Just something you're studying about in your classes and stuff.
Yeah, it's just something that we're studying about. No big deal.
I don't think that violence can happen or that something can really happen until it kind of hits you in the face and you're just kind of like, wow.
It does. You mentioned the school resource officer, Emily. Do you guys, do you like Emily? Do you feel safe knowing that there is an officer, there's a deputy on campus? Do you see him? How does he interact with you guys or the students?
Yeah, I know our school resource officers are always very friendly. They make sure they're nice to the students, and it's a good thing that we don't think about like school safety that much because our schools are safe and we want to keep them that way. That's what the school resource officer is for. And he's in there just to look out for the students. And I mean, if we didn't have him, it might be a lot different because I know we've had a school resource officer since before the incident.
Absolutely. Middle schools and high schools did have the resource officers. I think elementary schools are the ones that have added one onto their campuses lately.
So yeah, and I think that all started, like you were saying, with Columbine.
Absolutely.
I know when I was in elementary school and part of middle, there weren't any resource officers in the school, and then after Columbine happened nationwide, everybody started to pay more attention to looking, planning for things like that and trying to prevent things that happen. But like you were saying, time passes and people, it's not that they forget, but it's just not on their mind as much.
Right.
And so
I think I read it somewhere or I saw it something. It was when things don't happen to people, they tend to think that it won't happen to them. So then people kind of relax, and then when it does happen, it can be even more disastrous.
It's that false sense of security, So you guys, it sounds like you're all in agreement that having the school resource officer on campus is definitely a positive step and something that makes you feel comfortable. Are there any things that that you feel like would be good to add or feel like that needs to happen to increase school security, or would make you feel more comfortable at school?
I actually did my GREAT project for school. I did this on basically what happened at Sandy Hook and how we can make our school a better place for a safer place. And I said that maybe adding bulletproof windows or like keypad locks so teachers can only get in, and so that with the bulletproof windows the guns can't shoot through it, and so it makes the school much safer because you have that protection. Because I mean, our windows, you can kick through the windows. I mean, it's not that they're not that sturdy of. I mean,
so adding some structural, changing some structural issues,
and
like
it's not something where you have to
windows.
tear down the building and then rebuild it.
Right.
I was wondering, do you all feel safer after you have drills, like the lockdown drills and things like that? Do you all feel better prepared, or?
A lot of students, I don't think they make a difference to, but to me it seems like it changes it a little bit because we know what to do. And the first time, I remember like in elementary school, we were just getting used to like fire drills and lockdown drills. We didn't really know what to do and we all kind of freaked out about it, but now we're more used to it. And it's nice to know like what it's going to be like, and it won't make as much of a difference, and the students will feel safer.
Right.
That's the actual thing.
Don't really think. I mean, like whenever we were younger, I think that I think that lockdowns are mainly the thing that will make you feel safer, because I mean, like, not that it doesn't happen, but like we don't get tornadoes down in Wilmington, and I mean, like, tornado drills, people just talk, and I mean, I can hear out in the hallway loud conversations going on, and I mean, I don't really think that it matters to the students. I mean, maybe that first time they're like, whoa, and then, I mean, I don't think it really mattered because fire drills, it's kind of the obvious. If students are like, I know what to do, it doesn't really matter. I mean,
And I think that brings up a good point, is that, you have to decide whether you do too many drills and then students maybe don't take them seriously and feel like, oh, well, this is just a drill. You never can anticipate what's going to happen if there is an actual event, but at least, this is a step that we can take to kind of prepare you guys as best as possible. Because when the adrenaline's going and, everybody's in a chaotic state, having some sense of structure and knowledge of what to do will hopefully help kind of rein that in a little bit.
Yes. I'm an obsessed person with Titanic, so I studied that for a long time, and it was a false sense of security when saying that the ship was unsinkable, because when it did start to sink, people didn't believe it. But then by the time that people knew the ship is actually going to sink and there's not enough boats, it was too late. So you want people to know where to go and what to do.
Absolutely.
I think they're doing good. I mean, I realize that they are very helpful, but I think that once a month, and having every type of drill, like once a month, it's kind of a lot because students are just like, okay, we're gonna have a drill, we haven't had one yet. You can kind of prepare for it and it's not that shocking, but like skipping maybe a month or two, then students and then whenever the fire drill suddenly goes off, they think, oh my gosh, this is a real fire.
Right.
And then they actually take it serious.
Right. Well, I think one of the most important things is to make sure that you listen to your teacher or the adult that's in charge of your area, because they'll have an idea of what is actual, what is a drill. So, well, thank you guys so much for talking to us about school safety. I think it's definitely an important topic, and we'll continue to be talking about this, I'm sure, for months and years to come. Now, don't go away. Coming up next, we're going to talk about Earth Day and the importance of recycling.
There are so many fun things we all can do to be healthier, no matter who you are or where you are. So let's move.
Well, here we go. We're getting set to get underway.
Let's stretch in the grass.
Great play.
Let's play tag.
What a play.
Let's jump up and down.
Oh, what a way to finish it.
And most of all, let's eat better so that we have the energy we need to play an hour a day, every day.
Everyone can play. Just go to letsmove.gov to learn more.
For you. Hey, Mom.
You know, girls, I used to cheer back in my day. Ready? Okay! Go team!
That was amazing, amazing, amazing. Mom, that was amazing.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
Welcome back to U Talk. April 22nd is Earth Day. In our final segment, our panel is going to discuss keeping our planet clean and green. What do you guys anticipate doing for Earth Day, or what do you do on a daily basis to keep our planet healthy?
I know when we were in elementary school, we did a lot of planting trees, and even though we don't do it as much in middle school, I try to keep that tradition. You know, I remember last year Lowe's was handing out these little trees, and you could plant it and grow your own trees. I think it's a nice thing to do.
Absolutely. So planting trees is your plan. Awesome.
I think, like my family, we recycle a lot, and I just think conserving energy and just being mindful of what you're doing and what you're putting into the planet.
Sounds good.
I'm part of the Noble Green Team, and I actually have a shirt right here for it. We'll go around school, pick up recycling bins. We'll normally after the Green Team meeting the next day, we'll do like a green fact of a way that you can help for like the upcoming holiday or something for like Christmas. Throw out your Christmas tree in the backyard. It'll help fertilize the plants, and so that's what I do.
Okay. Great. Well, it sounds like the schools, I know Noble does have the Green Team, and I know other schools have those initiatives as well, and things that you guys can do on your own at home, which is great, spreading the awareness. We want to thank Ms. Granger for being here today in our panel. We didn't mention you earlier, but she's actually our counseling intern at Noble, and I want to thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. We hope you have enjoyed this edition of U Talk. If you missed any part of this program, then check us out online at www.nhcs.net and click on the video library link found on the school system's webpage. I'm Paige Turner. On behalf of the entire U Talk panel, thanks for watching. We hope you'll submit questions to our show and tune in again next month for an all-new episode of U Talk.